Now, North Korea has called for breakthrough efforts to be made in what the country's leader has called a reunification with the South. It comes as an inter-Korea Olympic team prepares to compete at the upcoming Winter Games in Pyeongchang. It marks a rare moment of eased tensions on the peninsula after a war of words between North Korea and the US. Igor Zhdanov takes a closer look at that.
Kim Jong-un, a man who couldn't think of anything better than to include a threat of a nuclear winter in his New Year's speech. And Donald Trump, a man who couldn't think of anything better than to up the ante. What ensued might one day come to be known as the Battle of Buttons.
The entire US mainland is within the range of our nuclear strike, and the button is always on the table in my office. They should clearly know that this is certainly not a threat, but rather a reality.
Please inform him that I too have a nuclear button, but it is much bigger and more powerful one than his, and my button works.
So everyone's beginning to get used to the two-way barrage of insults. But then, unexpectedly, Kim starts cracking out lines from a very different playbook, proposing a joint women's hockey team with South Korea at the Winter Olympics. For the first time in history, who would have thought? Then, on top of that, the North Korean leader invites the southern team to train at his luxury ski resort, which is also rumored to be his vantage point for observing missile tests. And those have reportedly been put on hold. The notorious red button is away in the drawer. And finally, the despot holds out an olive branch, once again calling for the reunification of the peninsula.
We will courageously smash all of the challenges of the nation's desire for reunification. Let all the Koreans rise up in the peacekeeping struggle against war to baffle the reckless nuclear war moves of the US.
So what about his adversary half the world away? Has Trump now started trying to outflatter his arch-nemesis? Well, actually, it seems the switch from war to love caught the American leader off guard, although he did claim that Kim's change of heart was of his making. Well, twice, actually.
Sanctions and other pressures are beginning to have a big impact on North Korea. Rocket Man now wants to talk to South Korea for the first time. Does anybody really believe that talks and dialogue would be going on between North and South Korea right now if I wasn't firm, strong and willing to commit our total might against the North?
And since then, for almost a month now, nothing on the Rocket Man from Trump.
I think this is his way of trying to say, see, my policy of pressure is having an effect, but in reality, it's the policy of pressure had only made this more difficult to come into play and had delayed it. It would have happened much sooner, I think, without Trump in the picture. And unfortunately, I think this is only a temporary warming from the United States side because due to the specific case of it being the Olympics, a sort of a special case. The United States has announced it's going to conduct the usual war exercises immediately after the Olympics.
But after all, Trump has always maintained he can be flexible, meaning that he can go from foe to friend with his North Korean counterpart just like that. So why the silence now? Well, perhaps Trump's brainstorming a friendlier nickname. Igor Zhdanov, RT.